Okay, hello everybody. Come over here. We have something special tonight. It is a question and answer night tonight between Pieter and Eric. Please give a big applause for Pieter and Eric because they're going to ask the questions they have never dared to ask before. So tonight we will get the truth between the two boys. But yeah, thank you for coming everybody. It's a pleasure to have you, and you know, we like to do more things like this at the Kikkerland store, so we can give a little bit more value, a little more depth. Hey Ola! Welcome. And so, this is Eric Janssen, who was going to ask some questions to Pieter Woudt. Pieter Woudt is one of the originators of Kikkerland. He designed the logo for Kikkerland. He designed every catalog for the past 30 or something years for Kikkerland. Well, okay, most of them. The first one was done by hand and it was a photocopy.
I did that one too.
Anyway, let's start and have fun everybody, and hopefully you can learn something. Here you go, Pieter.
Thanks, John. Alright, Eric, take it away.
Okay. I have my cheat sheet here. Thanks, Jan. Thanks, everybody, for coming here today. And it's my privilege to be able to have this little Q&A with Pieter. Ask him questions about his career and his New York odyssey that you originally came for, what, a year? And it's 30 years later, and the family and the business and everything else, and here he is. It's also interesting that Pieter and Jan both come from the Netherlands, as everybody knows, and so their stories are kind of linked together in an interesting way, as are many immigrant stories, and it's kind of a symbiotic relationship that's gone on for 25 years. And I've known Pieter for probably almost 20 years. I think I met you at Kikkerland in Harlem in the late 90s.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to think of when we first met. I think it was then. Your office up in Harlem. Yeah,
it's possible.
Okay, so anyhow, great designer, great friend. I'd like to ask Pieter some questions about his work and learn about his interesting trajectory from graphic designer to product designer and young. Okay, so start with the first question. What was your early inspiration to become a designer and your educational background in your home country?
Okay, so my family, there's a lot of printers in my family. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my uncle, they're all printers and publishers. So from my father's side, my father was a publisher as well. So I'm very familiar with the whole printing and making books predominantly. So that really drove my interest there. And then I went to the Rietveld Academy in Amsterdam. Eventually I was like, oh, I want to pursue this, and that's where I went. And it was a great school. I really had a great time there. It was very excellent education. Yeah.
What about that time that you spent being an accountant?
That was the truth. Well, I'm not ashamed of that. It's like that was actually like what happened was like I was actually a fairly good student in high school, but my thing was I could learn something and then do the test and then get a really high grade, and then like 2 weeks later I forget everything. So it's like this doesn't make sense to pursue this and just make it all the way to a professor somewhere, and then it's like have nothing. So I really wanted to make money, and I wanted to just get a job. That was kind of what I wanted to do. And then my parents sort of talked me into this accounting thing. They were like, why don't you just study something on the side? So it was a lot of fun. I think basically what I didn't like about it so much was the whole attitude of the place. It was very these were people that I worked with that were like 25 years, and they were already saving up for their retirement or something, and it was like, I was not there at all,
Okay, so anyhow, moving on. How did you decide to relocate to New York in the late 1980s, and what was your reception like?
I think what I always was drawn to New York, and I wanted to do something to. I really wanted to try something like this. It was something in my head, and it's one of these things like if you don't do it, you know. Like I finished my school, my job. I had a great job, but I was not going to stay there. So it was a perfect time. I didn't have a girlfriend or a house or anything like that. So it was an ideal time to do it. So that's why I did it. And I originally thought like I'll just do it for a year, see how it goes.
Yeah, and how did you find the design community and the music scene in New York in the 80s?
I liked it a lot, because I came the year before already to check it out. I went with my portfolio, and I think I did like 20 interviews in a week or something, really a lot, just here on vacation, just to kind of check out the atmosphere here. And it was like, you know, in Chelsea you walked into these giant walls, and it was like design firms, and the design world back then didn't really involve computers, so there was not all these people sitting there like, you know, like religiously behind the screen, like, you know, like zombies. There was music, there were people cutting up with paper, and it was just much more lively than it is now. I have to say that. It's I mean, the creativity is not. I'm not saying like behind the computer you can't be creative, but like the whole rock and roll atmosphere was much more intense like back then, I think.
Okay, so that leads us into my next question, which is, tell us a little about your years at MTV when the M still stood for music.
Well, it was a kind of it was a fun time to be there. It was unbelievable amount of work. It just kept on, like, you know, it was just non-stop, unbelievable amount of work, and it was something that I was really surprised by in the beginning, because like I didn't really set out to work at MTV. I was looking more for a design company or a record company. Those were the places where I was really interested. And one guy at the record company, he actually kind of put me in touch with MTV. That was Steve Byron, really great designer also, and he hooked me up with Jeffrey Keeter from MTV. And MTV was like, yeah, there were great parties, you know, MTV was like the 10-year birthday party, and Prince was playing, and it was like non-stop, like running into all kinds of people in the elevators. It was really a lot of fun.
Great. And then after your MTV experience, I think that was 5 years?
I worked there for 5 years.
Yeah. And then why did you decide to form your own studio, Big Bolt? What were your aspirations in going out on your own?
It was a little, when I worked at MTV, they had like sort of repetitive things also, because I did like 3 or 4 of those Video Music Award campaigns, which was like a lot of fun, you know, it was a lot of exposure, but then, you know, you finish with it and there it comes again. And I also had like a great computer setup at home, because I had better equipment at home than I had at work, and I had a lot of freelance gigs, like people would like pick me up in limos and give me work, and I was just like, whoa. It's either time to do it or not, and I just went for it. It was good.
And you also tell us a little bit about, you had a thing with doing book designs, and you also ran an art gallery for a couple of years.
Yeah, that was a little later. That was more in 1998 that I started doing that. It just happened sort of on the cuff. I met some artists, and they wanted to hang up some work, really, my neighbor upstairs, he sort of inspired me, because he had these great paintings. And he was this guy from the 60s, an older guy, he passed away now, but like he had like some really nice paintings, and they just hang in this place. It was like, people have to see this stuff, you know, rather than just hang it up, open a couple of bottles of wine, and we call it a gallery, you know, this is all there is to it. Or a shop. And it was actually great, because it was a little bit of a period in my time, in my career, where originally I wanted to start a bigger company. I wanted to get more people and just grow my business. And then as I was doing that for a while, I realized I didn't really like that, so I kind of scaled that back. And I was like, oh, so what do? And then just working with all the artists in the gallery was really kind of inspirational to me, because you work with people who, you know, there were some successful artists that went through there, but also people who just, you know, really believe in themselves and they want to do it. But, you know, they have to support themselves in different ways, because their art is not paid for it. And it was really kind of inspirational to me to see that also. It was good.
How did you come to meet Jan?
Jan, I met through a mutual friend.
Let me guess, a Dutch friend.
Yes. Yeah, we run into circle every now and then. But like he rented a booth at the Kikkerland Design because Jan's company was not so big back then. And he rented a booth, but you could use somebody else to fill it up a little bit. I guess that's how it went. And then Michiel, he had the jewelry business. Very interesting guy. I think he lives in the Philippines right now. He's a very fun character. But I did for Michiel, I did like these Xerox catalogs that were, this was before digital printing. And it was actually a very cost-efficient way to make like 200 catalogs that were sort of looked somewhat decent, and Jan saw those and kind of was like, oh, can you do some for me? And that's basically how we started off. And it went right to this. It's pretty spectacular if you look back at it.
Okay. The Kikkerland identity. Intentional or not, there is a Dutch sensibility that runs through the Kikkerland look, from the logo type to the catalog designs, etc. So, first of all, what does Kikkerland mean?
For those of you who don't know, it means literally like the frog land, the land of the frogs. It's kind of a little, it's like a name for Holland. It's different.
Okay. And then how about the development of the symbol, and where does the font come from, the logo type?
The font is designed by Hendrik Berlage. He's a Dutch architect. And Jan has always been very charmed by the Amsterdamse school. It's an architectural movement in Holland from the 30s. It's pretty interesting if you ever want to check it out. There are like really cool buildings made out of bricks and stuff. And so that's kind of, a friend of mine actually worked with this logo type because he made a menu for a restaurant that was based on that place. And I got that font from him and I was like, oh, I like that, let's see that. And we put that together and we've been using it for a really long time now.
And what about the symbol with the little pyramid and the orbit around it?
The symbol, that started different because I think Jan's first business card, he just went to the printer and said like, print me up a business card and I want a triangle on it and it has to be yellow. That was really how that went, and I was like, okay. So I didn't come up with that triangle, that was Jan's idea, or he had it already, and then, for a while I put the eye in it, sort of like the dollar bill kind of thing, and it became a little
Illuminati.
Yeah, there was a little Illuminati, we didn't want to go there. And it's like, and eventually I put that little circle around it. It sort of like made it a little kind of friendly, funny looking.
Now here it is 25 years later, and it works great. Also, with your catalog designs, you can see examples of Pieter's catalog designs on the table there. You've done some 30 of those over the years, as well as examples of Pieter's posters hanging in the window on both sides. To me, they're quintessentially Dutch in the sense that you talk about Dutch design going back to people like Hendrik Berkman and Karl Martens and others. There's always this complicated layering of imagery and type and bright colors. It's very arresting, and at the same time it's still super structured and very easy to read with a clear hierarchy, and I think I see that in your work all the time. There's this very Dutch quality to it.
Thank you.
And what are your thoughts about having been trained as a graphic designer and translating that later on into doing products?
Yeah, eventually, so I started off working from catalogs and doing promotional items, I guess, and then it turned more into packaging at some point. I think one of the first packaging from Kikkerland that actually had some sort of a design like besides like just the name Kikkerland on it is that yellow little package there. It does some kind of translucent sort of multi-tool or something. I mean, it doesn't.
This one?
Yeah, it says. I think it says Kikkerland on it somewhere. It's like it doesn't even. There's no branding to it. This is just like how it started out, because before there was nothing to it. And so over time that grew, and I started doing packaging also. Like for me, it was really interesting to work with Chico, because he was one of the first product designers that worked with Kikkerland on a proprietary basis for Kikkerland. And so I designed all those packagings also for the critters. And to me, it was like, I saw that and I was like, whoa, this is really interesting. This guy makes these funny little wind-ups and he gets royalty payments. That's what I want to do.
So that leads us. Oh, sorry.
Well, and then obviously you kind of, I started making products, and it's always been like a really cool relationship with John myself, because he's kind of sort of supportive. He's like, oh yeah, why not? Let's do it. Like, so it's always kind of like see where it goes. And so I think one of the first ones I think is those Mikido, the sticks. That was like it's really like a packaging design. That became a product. We came up with some new rules, I think, for that also, and just, it went from there.
But design is design, whether you're dealing with things two-dimensionally or three-dimensionally, or
yeah, I mean, the packaging is obviously is a three-dimensional aspects to it, and it's a lot of times there's some complicated construction to it as well.
For clock here is more of a product type of thing.
That's true.
But the principles are the same.
Yeah.
And lastly, let's talk about the invisible cards. To me, that's a real product success story that illustrates a unique and mutually beneficial relationship between the designer and the manufacturer distributor, and where the designer comes up with something nice, and then the manufacturer distributor has a foresight to put this thing into production and also allow you an opportunity to share in royalties. So it's like an ideal situation. And also, that's a product that was very successful and versioned many times. Can you tell us a little bit about the development of that particular product?
Yeah, well, the invisible cards actually is an interesting and a long story, because I think we started working that in 1998, somewhere around there, really a long time ago. And the first prototypes, they came out like really not too good. They forgot a layer to put in there, so the whole thing just didn't work. You could look right through it. So we're like, okay, we can't do that. So it doesn't work as a card game. So then it was just shelved, and then years later, Jan was kind of, you were blaming me. So like, oh yeah, I had to pay all these thousands of dollars for the prototype. It was like, you paid thousands of dollars for a prototype. I worked for months on that for free. I was like, all right, then we're going to do it. And I was like, okay, that sounds good. But then this time I want to do it how I want to do it. It was like fun. And then it became like really successful. It was like, it came out of the gate, like people loved it. It's funny because it was kind of a product that's, the principle had been around, but it wasn't really designed like that. So the design really kicked it off. It was good.
Very good. And so recently, Pieter has taken on a position as creative director at Kikkerland, and in a way, you could say that he's had that role from the beginning, more or less. And so he's kind of come full circle in the Kikkerland family, and we'll see what the future holds and how to produce more products
and more good stuff too. It's the whole plan.
So, thank you. And if anybody has any questions for Pieter, he's happy to take a few, or you can talk to him afterwards. Otherwise, enjoy the refreshments and shop around and find some interesting gift ideas.
Yeah, you want to talk to him about this?
What? You want me to ask a question? What does it mean, rock and roll in design?
I also wonder about that.
I don't know. Yeah, I bring that up sometimes. To me, it's like, I think it's maybe not so. It's not so easy to define it, but like you feel it when you see it. It has a little bit of just it rocks or not. You know? It's hard to define it. It's not so analytic, I don't think.
It's like my boat.
More from the pelvis and less from the brain, I guess.
I guess, yeah. That's true.
Do you think being a Dutch made any difference to what you do?
I'm not so sure about that. I guess like just by listening to Eric, those comments, I would think like what he was saying about it, like I mean, as a kid, and my father being a publisher also, we had all those like graphic design books that they published every year. They were very, very well designed. It was like an industry effort, like the printers and the binders and the designers. Everybody worked for free on it, and they were really good books. Like just about the looks of things. And I, as a kid, I looked at these books over and over and over again. So that definitely like is ingrained in me somehow. So that's probably the difference. The background in that. I would think that could make a difference. I'm not really sure these days. I mean, the stuff is like you can get your inspiration really everywhere, and it's not so culturally defined anymore at this point, I think.
I think when you grow up in a culture like the Netherlands that's so design savvy, where everything from postage stamps to currency to all that stuff is so, I mean, here we have kind of adaptations of the same dollar bills with just the bigger presidents had on it or whatever. There you have unbelievable, designs for everything, and it's so part of the culture that you almost don't, it becomes transparent.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that is these days, to be honest with you, because I've been here for so long now. I don't really particularly go, I have the sense that it's so particularly good there at the moment. It used to be, it was more, I remember back in the day, you walked around and there was a new poster hanging from somebody. It was really like, it was an event. You could see right away, like, oh, this is like, a new poster that Anton Baker came out, and everybody knew it. It was like, now it's more, I don't know, the whole culture is just a little bit different, I think.
I was wondering, like, what's a day in the life of when you had your job at MTV? Before we forget what MTV was, I'm curious what time did you have to be there? What was your boss like?
My boss was a trickster. I hope he's not here. My boss, he would like to keep people, put people under incredible pressure all the time. He would have a job that was like, he knew it was due, like, he had it already for a week and a half on his desk, and then like the day before he was like, oh my God, we have to do this. And there's like everybody like all panicking. Like,
well, that's the same now.
No, it's a little different now, because I think the other boss did it sort of on purpose. But it was a tactic. I think Jan just kind of, he changes his mind sometimes, so he kind of like, oh, but it's like you have to understand it. In a way, it's not that different, because Kikkerland has a tremendous amount of products to put out every year that just puts an enormous amount of pressure on really everybody, and probably Jan the most. For him, it's like it's his business, in a way. So it's a tough decision to make every time, and I understand that. It's still a lot of work that we have to do. At MTV, we kind of started sort of like at the same time, probably like 9:30 ish. Like people came in. Like I used to come in at 10 there sometimes because I worked late also. But it was a very exhausting job because the pressure of putting stuff out was tremendous. It was really was.
Drugs in the office, or
I don't really see that. I don't really see that much. There was probably some cocaine going on. There was some fires also in the building all the time. It was, who knows? It's just like the parties were tremendous. We had like Christmas parties that people were like, literally like ambulances would line up, and people like who broke their legs from like drinking too much and falling over and stuff like that. It was crazy.
well, that's what I wanted to hear.
Okay, let's say thank you to
All right, thank you, Jan. Appreciate it.
And thank you everybody for coming, and especially the people from London that came all the way from England to watch you guys talk. But welcome and enjoy. Let's have a party.
Great.
Okay?